Hello guys, my name is Sergey. I'm a freediving instructor trainer, and on this channel I'm sharing with all of you guys everything what I know about freediving. So sometimes it is a freediving theory, sometimes it is a freediving exercise, or from time to time I do a freediving product reviews. So if you're a freediver, make sure that you subscribe to my channel because you're gonna have a lot of useful information here. And if you already did it, thank you very much, and make sure that you didn't forget to click the bell button. In this case, you're gonna receive also notification when I make my new video. So today I want to talk about our Master Freediving course. So the way how we teach Master Freediving course here in Crystal Freediving. If you haven't seen my previous video about PADI Freediver course and PADI Advanced Freediver course, check it out. Links is going to be in the description, and also I'm going to put the links in the cards. So Master Freediver course. As any other freediving courses, it has three parts. First of all, it is a theory. On the master level, there is not that much theory left from the previous courses. On the previous courses, we already learned almost everything about freediving. However, there are a few topics which was not covered there, and it's usually decompression sickness, gas narcosis, mouse feel theory. However, what we usually do on the Master Freediving courses, how I'm teaching them, we are starting from repeating the information from previous courses. So when we start theory from Master Freediving course, we start talking with the basic stuff like relaxation breathing, breath hold, arch to breathe, contractions, recovery breathing, mammalian direflex, so everything what you already learned from the level 1 and level 2 theory. We are going a little bit into more details for Master Freedivers. We want to explain a little bit more how the respiratory system works, how circulatory system works during our breath hold, how our muscles working during our breath holds, etc, etc. So we're going a little bit into more details. And repetition always is a good idea because we are, as human beings, tend to forget information if you don't repeat it. So this is what we do with the theory part. First we're repeating everything what we learned before, and then we also learn some new information as well. So sometimes it is a one-day theory, like a half day, or sometimes we spread it out over the few days. We're going to talk at the end of this video about the duration of the Master Freediver course here in Crystal Freediving, but again, the duration of the theory, let's say, can vary. And also Master Freedivers have to do their assignment, so they kind of playing a little bit role of researcher and do their own research about different freediving subjects, and try to dig down a little bit deeper into understanding different parts of the freediving. So another part is the pool sessions. There is not only one pool session, there are many pool sessions, and what we are doing, we improving all of our previous skills. So we're improving how to do dynamic with the bi-fins, how to do dynamic no fins, how to do static, etc, etc. So there is a requirements which we have to meet for certification, which the main requirement is a static 3 minutes 30 seconds and dynamic is a 70 meters. But apart of these requirements, there are a lot of things what we do. Like I said before, we also working on our no fins technique, we also working on our safety technique, we also work on our rescue technique, etc, etc. So, and also different exercise can be used in this level. We experimenting with no contractions table, different CO2 tables, sometimes we combine static with dynamic, etc, etc. What usually also I do as an instructor for Master Freediver students, I try to identify their strengths their strongest part and their weakest part, and based on that I make an individual program for each Master Freediver. So sometimes these programs vary a little bit, but sometimes the difference between two master students can be quite big. Again, because different students have a different strong part and weak part. For example, sometimes we have a student who can hold the breath for 5 minutes, but really struggling with the equalization and couldn't dive, let's say, deeper than 20 meters, like couldn't equalize any deeper. So then obviously our focus is going to be on equalization, even in the pool, not, let's say, on the static. And sometimes it's different. Sometimes people can easily dive, perfect equalization, but struggling with static, always dynamic by fins, etc., etc. Also, some students coming for the Master Freediver level already with a goal in their minds. So, for example, I have sometimes Master Freediver students who, let's say, want to be better in dynamic no fins, or they want to achieve certain numbers in a static or in dynamic by fins. So I can also modify our program, our typical master program, for such students as well. And then obviously part number 3 is the diving in the ocean. Constant wave depth minimum is 32 meters, maximum for the Master Freediver is 40 meters. I think it's more or less the same for all freediving organizations, like maybe like small variations. It used to be 27 in PADI Freediving, let's say before 2019, but for the last 2 years minimum requirements is 32 meters. In an open water session, of course, we do the same as in a pool. We working a lot on the technique, we work a lot on the relaxation. Here we're also working obviously for the equalization part, rescue skills, safety skills, etc., etc. So our main philosophy here in Crystal Freediving is not to concentrate on any of this number. So we never like have an end goal, like, okay, how to reach this particular number, how to reach 330 or how to reach 32 meters. Our main goal is always how to become a better freediver. So let's say my student is diving and he has not really good free fall position. So this is going to be our focus. We want to improve more free falling position. Or kicking is not good, so we're going to work on a kicking. And this is going to be our main focus, and the numbers is only going to be secondary. Obviously we're progressing, obviously majority of my master students reaching these numbers, especially like static and dynamic, because with the depth it's slightly more complicated because there is an equalization question. Numbers is never our main goal, it's like a secondary goal, at least, maybe even further. So this is how any master course looks like. We have a theory, we have a pool sessions, and we have open water sessions. So let's come back to the question how long we teach Master Freediver course. And here we have two options. So we have a minimum amount of days is 6 days. So 6 is absolutely minimum. I will come back to the 6 days in a few seconds. And then we have a more typical master course, which is 3, 4, 5, or sometimes 6 or 7 weeks. So let's say 6 days is the minimum, and let's say 6 weeks is what is normally our master course looks like. And you can ask me, Sergey, why you teaching Master Freediver program in 6 days? It's impossible, you cutting the corner. And actually I'm not. I'm never cutting the corners, And the reason why we have this option, like 6 days option, is because there are some freedivers who are already good freedivers, who are already practicing a lot in the pool, already practicing a lot in the ocean, and they are already good freediver. And when such freedivers coming, sometimes they just want to get certification, let's say to proceed to the instructor course. And I can give you an example. Like before this Corona stuff happened, I have one Master Freediver, and when he came to Ko Tao, he was already diving to almost to 40 meters, I think like 38, 39. His static was almost 5 minutes and dynamic was close to 100. So obviously this person, and again the technique was really good, equalization skill was really good, etc, etc. So he was already kind of master on this master level. And what we did on this course, we just adjust small details. As far as I remember, we was working a little bit on his dynamic because he was like swimming a little bit too aggressive. So we was working on more like relaxed style, and also for the depths we was working a little bit more on a free fall position. But again, in his particular case, 6 days was more than enough. But normally in a majority of cases, to complete Master Freediver course, people requires between like 3 and 6 weeks of quite intense training. How the training looks like, quite common, again not always but quite common. In the beginning we do like 3 days training, 1 day off, 3 days training, 1 day off, and normally day off doesn't mean the completely day off. Normally on day off we do some stretching or maybe some meditation, some relaxation, or maybe some theory or equalization session, but let's say 3 days in the water, 1 day off the water. Let's say when we are in the middle of our program, then we may be going to shift 2 days training, 1 day off, and maybe at the really end of our master program, when students try to really do their best, whether it is a static, dynamic or depths, then sometimes we do one day training in the water, 1 day off. And again, day off means stretching, equalization, theory, some stuff like that. So this is how a typical course looks like. Again, the link to our courses you can find in the description. If you have any question about how we teach master course here in Crystal, you're more than welcome to ask them in the comments. And this is it for today. If you like this video, don't forget to click the like button. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you next time on my channel.